So we know that there's these deep, dark webs happening in the country. Why do you think? Is it purely because the people in charge are just this bloodthirsty? Is it blackmail? Like, where do you think? What do you think is going on? Like, why?
Man, it's I think long-standing the top currency in BC has been sexual blackmail and human compromise. I
Right.
do believe that, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's been really entrenched systematically at this point. And I also think that when I covered the Psychopath Machine, that book by the victim from Oak Ridge, um, I just said our current reality is far stranger than fiction,
Yeah.
and we're talking Manchurian candidates, programmed assassins, manufactured mercenaries, secret government programs, and a careful, systematic assault being waged on the human psyche.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quoted John Ronson, and I said, the psychopath test, right?
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, madness was everywhere.
Mm.
And I was determined to learn about the impact it had on the way society evolves. Psychopaths make the world go round. Society is an expression of that particular sort of madness. I've always believed society to be a fundamentally rational thing, but what if it isn't? What if it is built on insanity? And it's just,
I think it's
I,
true.
I,
I mean,
I think,
I believe in the
yeah,
fall of man, so it actually has been insanity ever since. And the story right after Adam and Eve leave the garden is the brother killing the brother, right? Like it's Cain and Abel. It's just a foundation of corruption and violence. And yeah, it's alarming. And while you were talking about the Patsy stuff and like we were talking about the boogeyman idea, made me think about just everything. We mentioned Epstein briefly, but also like the Diddy stuff. Like Diddy might just be a face for one. He's one small piece of a much larger puzzle, and I'm curious if that trial is going to give us any hints as to anything else. It's like not like once Epstein went away, we didn't really learn much about. We know maybe like Prince Andrew and like there's obviously a lot of people who are involved, but we don't really know clients.
right.
At least they haven't given us an official list. I don't believe one exists
I haven't
anymore.
looked into it, but I saw a report that just came. I just saw a report yesterday that said a key priority witness in the Diddy trial found dead.
Oh, I didn't see that part. I saw she was missing.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw
And I
she
was
was
like,
missing.
uh-oh.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
And
there,
so it
dude.
begins.
There was a judge looking into one of the bank issues with Epstein. I don't know if it was an offshore account or something. Maybe it was a Chase Bank thing. I forget what it was. But one of the judges involved with the Epstein case, some guy dressed up as a FedEx worker showed up. This is like a few years ago to her house and shot her son dead.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Wow.
while she was in the middle of it.
I
Um,
remember that. Yeah, dude.
dude, that's a crazy story too. So it's like I
You don't
know
think an intelligence asset could pose as a FedEx driver?
exactly. Well, they found that guy.
Yeah.
They found that guy dead. So it might have been a patsy, right?
Ah, there you go.
It might have been like the whole
That
thing
is
we're talking
fascinating.
about. There's so many stories like this where you see horrible things happen, or as horrible things happening, you're like, wait, I thought there were two people involved, and all of a sudden now it's one person. Like Oklahoma City bombings got that scenario, right? There's
Right.
one John Doe number two, I think, and that didn't
Hmm.
exist, I believe. And there was a mass shooting in Maine a few years ago, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and there were a lot of conflicting stories about that. The reports were like, we saw two people, we saw one person. That guy was eventually found dead. Then it sounds like that guy was in a mental institution for a while, or some kind of psychotherapy
Of
situation,
course.
right? And
Hmm.
he had heard voices and da 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 da. Like, oh, jeez, it's always
All the hallmarks, my brother.
it's always so close. It's like just one away from an MK Ultra facility, which is why I asked you guys last time we talked about it just a bit, like, how do you even look at the news anymore and not see this pattern? Because it makes us sound crazy to people who don't listen or read to this stuff at all. But you can lay it out and be like, look, I don't know definitively. I don't know anything definitively. But
Yeah,
these connections are very bizarre and very
exactly.
frequent, and something's going on that
Yeah.
I can't, I can explain till I'm blue in the face, but we're
I
just
will say,
small
I
humans.
will say, never in my life did I expect to find myself in this position. Um, in any like if my very first episode ever was MK Ultra. It
Hmm.
was about MK Ultra, and I would have done it much differently now. But at the same time, it's like to see I was I was forced into this line of investigation, ragged, kicking and screaming the entire way, not wanting to admit this as our current realistic power paradigm, but it's undeniable. Like that is how I truly feel at this moment. And it's like, yeah, we can remain skeptical and always attempt to be as objective as possible and
Hmm.
not fall into confirmation bias. But when the evidence becomes so clear and the patterns are so evident and just consistently resurface so very often, um, yeah, I'm terrified. I'm extraordinarily terrified by what the potential reality we truly face, and the threats that, you know, the real threat that is being posed. Honestly, it's that my intention here is just to figure this out conceptually for myself in some sort of way,
Hmm.
right? Because it's like at the end of the day, I feel ultimately grateful and blessed that I'm surrounded by good people that are honestly and objectively pursuing the truth in a beautiful way and practice the law of abundance, live by ethical principles. Like that's heaven to me.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, and so despite all this darkness, right? Um, we can at an individual level, you know, like we can pursue something worthwhile that will provide us with, I think, again, just a life worth living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Oh
we can
yeah.
look at this and it doesn't have to entirely disrupt our ability to be happy. You know, it's
Of
like,
course.
so be it. I know it's a terrifying prospect,
Ignorance,
but all we can
ignorance,
do is shine a light on it,
ignorance
you
is
know?
bliss is a psyop. It's
Absolutely,
it
brother.
like I'd rather know as much as I can about the world around me so I can then give my kids a family. Not that I'm telling my kids about this stuff right now, but like I
Right.
want them to be able to be like, I'm inheriting a dark and sinister world, but there's also beauty everywhere. And I need
Exactly.
to know, they need to know how to navigate it as best they can. And the more they know, the better. It's like our time here is fleeting. We won't be here very long. It's like that. But the ideas and the stories we get to share, those can be immortal, right? Like these ideas can spread, and the ideas will help, temper all the darkness that we talk about. The more people that know about this stuff, the less it's going to work. Like the spell is going to eventually start to. I think it's already begun. I think the spell is beginning to fade. But this is a huge network, an evil apparatus that extends across the entire Earth. So it's going to take a
That's why
while.
I'm just so like the entire goal is to know and be at least somewhat prepared as far as knowing what I should protect my children from, you know?
Yep.
And like that, man, all of this information has like I want to be a father.
Hmm.
I want to have children and have that experience just as I mean desperately. But I've never been more just a little it's a scary prospect, man, to just but although I know that it's worthwhile, it's just like that was kind of where I ultimately found myself is trying to figure out what I should understand before I kind of bring them into this world,
Hmm.
in the first place. And also, it's led me down this path where I overwhelmingly want to find a way to keep them out of public school.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
honestly, like,
I'm
you know
doing
what I
that.
mean?
That's what we do. I
Yeah.
think having a family is the greatest rebellion against all the darkness of modernity. And it's
You're
always
totally right,
it's
man.
always been bad. I mean, you can go throughout history and be like, anyone could always ask like, why are we bringing kids in this? You think about the '60s, just in America alone. What an insane time! All the assassinations, all this stuff, and people are looking around like, we're still gonna have kids. We're gonna, you got to. That's the only like real beacon of hope to help make the future better is to raise better kids. And
You're absolutely
we've been
right.
failing at it, you know, the collective we, because of how bad public schools are, and people outsource their parenting to other people, either tablets or public schools, and those are cult indoctrination, you know, institutions themselves. But I think it's always the best time to have a kid. Always best time to start a family, and that is your best way. I think you become a better person as a father, like 100%. But it's still a struggle, and you're still gonna, you know, figure out, learn new ways to deal with all these problems, and also be like, I fall short, you know, in this crazy world. But yo, that's a good way to end this on a. This is gonna be our Mother's Day episode. So
Go make the babies.
I like that. I like, yeah. So I like that we ended up with the family thing. 'Cause that's honestly ultimately it's the most important thing. Is how you share these stories with the next generations, and how, you know, they're gonna run with it. That's it. Because, you know, what we're doing, we're just talking about stuff we learned from other people who wrote about it, and then we're interpreting it and then applying it to the way we see the world now and everything around us. And now we're going to pass it off to the next generation and be like, now you run with it, and just hopefully they get the ball a little further down the line.
Right.
Well, my man,
Agreed.
let everyone know where they can find you.
Awesome, man. Thank you guys. Obviously, I hope you know how much I appreciate the opportunity, and then just the good conversation, man. Like,
Of course.
it's a beautiful thing, as I said, to find myself in a position where I feel like I'm surrounded by so many good people, like-minded individuals who have true, you know, principles. And so anytime I get the opportunity, I will say yes. And I love the idea of having a conversation with you guys.
Thank you.
And again, objectively pursuing the truth is a beautiful thing. So I appreciate you. And all of you guys can find me at the Underclass Podcast. Definitely the best place to support me. If anything I've ever done resonated with you, is my Patreon, patreon.com/the Underclass Podcast. And I do have some sort of incentive. At the very least, I have a paywalled show with Brad Bankley and Sam Tripoli called Whatever This Is. It's been a lot of fun. And then Already Dead, every Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern time with Jose, which is always a good time. So but beyond that, yeah, thank you again, brother.
Awesome.
For
Dude,
sure.
it's always a pleasure to talk. And I guess maybe the next time I'll see you, are you going to be at Bohemian Grove? I forget.
Yeah, I'll be there.
All
I'll be there.
right, great. Awesome. I'll see you there.